Hello, I'm Graham Copeland, Medical Director of CRAB Clinical Informatics. I've been interested in the application of mathematical modelling in healthcare for over 35 years. I started developing algorithms in the early 1980s, initially in neurosurgery to predict the risk of epilepsy following neurosurgical procedures. Those algorithms are still in use today by the driving licence authorities. On my return to general surgery, I used similar mathematical analytical techniques to predict outcome following general surgical intervention, encompassing both mortality and complication. My main motivation was to attempt to provide a retrospective probability of both death and complication, which could act as a basis for clinical audit and provide logic to the outcome review process. This culminated in my developing the POSSUM scoring system, which was first published in 1991 and has since been widely used internationally, and the various algorithms have now been validated for use in all surgical specialties. It soon became apparent that the accuracy of prediction, if applied correctly, could allow comparison between hospitals, specialty units and indeed individual surgeons. Surgeons have always been aware of the high-risk surgical patient, but the great advantage of such clinically based methodologies is that they quantify the exact risk and are easy to understand by both surgeons and patients alike. The other advantage of clinically based systems are that they are trusted by surgeons because they reflect what our experience tells us. The ability to focus on complications is a major advantage, as this is where future improvements in safety can be identified and then monitored, such that process and structure changes can be made to provide the best possible outcomes for our patients. Surgery is perhaps easier as the outcomes are more obvious. Medicine and the non-operative surgical patients are potentially more difficult to measure and let alone monitor. Mortality in general surgery in particular is a more complex event than analysing, as some other systems do, by age, sex and diagnosis. Even if you add in comorbidity weightings, the inaccuracy of such measures can be quite high in the middle risk spectrum. It was with this thought in mind that I considered using measures of harm as a background of medical mathematical analysis. The global trigger tool, first described in the United States of America, seemed to me to offer a methodology for examining harm, not using a random sample of patients, but in our methodology, an analysis of all patients admitted in all specialties. The CRAB methodology allows detection of all 32 trigger events using medical coded surrogates which have a very high validated sensitivity and specificity. The detection of avoidable deaths in those patients with high numbers of trigger events can identify safety issues and thus guide process improvement. The key ward-based triggers, the acute kidney injury, deteriorating early warning score, shock and cardiac arrest, escalation triggers, sepsis and hospital-acquired pneumonia, can give a valuable insight into the relationship between medical, nursing and support services in providing holistic care to our patients. The CRAB platform provides platform analytical tools provide reassurance that care is acceptable. But if care is not acceptable, then the tools can not only identify potential problems, but guide the user to the solution as well. Thank you.